So, one of the common things that people say about the iPad Pro is that,
Hey man, the iPad Pro is overkill, man.
or why put an M2 chipset on the iPad Pros if there's no Pro apps, man? Well, thankfully, the public version of DaVinci Resolve 18 is officially out and is free for everyone to use. And for me, I've decided to test the M2 iPad Pro to its fullest with my typical 6K raw Blackmagic footage and ProRes video files too. And speaking of Pro, I got someone who is a pro on doing color grading work with commercials. And she loves nasi goreng too. So if you want to know the exact specs and variant that I'm using for this review after using it for a month, feel free to pause this video to know which exact specs that it is. Now, in case you did not know what DaVinci Resolve software is or never heard of it, well, now you need to know because it's a very powerful software which is an industry standard for video editing, especially for color grading in movies, commercials, and even on every online platform as well. Now, as a frequent user of DaVinci Resolve, I was super excited when Apple announced that it will be available for the iPad. Especially during the keynote, I saw a little logo of DaVinci Resolve over there and I just couldn't believe my eyes. And yes, it is true. And to my surprise, it looks exactly and functions like the desktop version. So since I shoot all of my videos on the Blackmagic 6K camera with the Blackmagic RAW format, I was eager to test that out on the M2 iPad Pro, and I decided to do a mini comparison test between my 14-inch M1 Max MacBook Pro, since both devices are meant for portability for a real-time comparison test. And just so you know that DaVinci Resolve for iPad is compatible with many codecs such as H.264, H.265, Apple ProRes, and yes, Blackmagic RAW with all the adjustments of the RAW capabilities as well. And for my workflow, I did a 3-minute 6K B-RAW file on a timeline that includes color correction, audio EQ effects, and dynamic zoom to export to a H.264 4K resolution for me to post on platforms like here on YouTube or other social platforms. And on my fully Max M1 Max MacBook Pro, it exported in exactly 1 minute, and the M2 iPad Pro exported in 3 minutes and 14 seconds. So yes, that is some pretty impressive numbers considering the fact that it is a super portable and lighter device compared to the MacBook Pro. And the iPad Pro's amazing color accuracy was also something that was very much appreciated, especially with a new reference mode, which made it super easy to display the color reference for SDR and HDR video format on the Rec 709 color space. And with the new iPad OS 16 update, you can now use an external display as a separate display compared to just typically mirroring the iPad. So that for me was also a huge plus too. And of course, since it's color accurate, matching footage between different cameras was also very much easier too, since I do have the Sony a7S III, which prior to this, I hardly even used the a7S III because I was not a big fan of the color. But right now, having the iPad Pro, I can finally match both cameras to make sure that it looks the same, almost Blackmagic, not very close, for me to finally revive the usage of the Sony a7S III. Now, in terms of performance, even when I got the beta version and now trying the public version, I was very impressed on how well that the DaVinci Resolve performed on the M2 iPad Pro. From importing videos, scrubbing through the timeline with my 6K RAW files, and even switching between the cut page and the color page was also exceptionally smooth as well, even after adding the color correction. And my overall experience with the Magic Keyboard was also very responsive, and the JKL playback was perfect for editing faster, where in case you did not know that in DaVinci Resolve, J is to play back backward, K is to stop, and L is to play forward. And navigating and just using the trackpad during my whole entire usage was also very smooth too. Then the Apple Pencil was also great to get those minute adjustments for trimming footage and of course adjusting colors. And speaking of the Apple Pencil hover feature can also be used on the clips, which was extra nice. Then to take my editing to a higher level and to supercharge my workflow, I even gotten myself the DaVinci Resolve Speed Editor to use the dedicated scroll wheel and the dedicated keys as well, and it also worked extremely well, and it works through wirelessly since it does connect via Bluetooth. And kind of looks like a CDJ, right? Now, as mentioned, the DaVinci Resolve for iPad is available at the Apple App Store for free, and I'll put a list of compatible devices for the app that has been released in a direct link in the description below. But the Advanced Studio version add-on will be a one-time fee of 95 USD. But keep in mind, about 80 to 90% of the app usage is absolutely for free, and only if you need some added plugins or feature, then only you need to require to make a purchase. But you have an option for you to not purchase as well. So yes, it's for free for you to use, and take that, Adobe Premiere or Suite, you piece of make sure you censor that, huh? And for those of you who are familiar with the app, there are also other pages like Fairlight and Fusion in the desktop version that might be coming soon to the iPad Pro. Now, there's no news if the edit page will be coming to the app, but you know what they say never. But Blackmagic, please bring the edit page. Okay, now that we have gone through all of my tests, allow me to introduce someone that I've mentioned at the beginning of this video for her to give her professional feedback since she does color grading as her career. This is Chloe, aka Frenchie. She is a professional colorist and has been in the post-production industry for 4 years, working on color grading for commercials with clients like Porsche, Traveloka, Cellcom, Mitsubishi, Ali Cafe, and more. And she's a YouTube content creator based on giving her valued tutorials on color grading and color management in post as well.
So color grading is very important because it gives a style to your footage. If you have a video and you want to pass a certain emotion, then you use color to do this. Or if you have any creative intent, you can use color to help your message. Also, color grading is very important to help the flow of your video by matching the footage. So it helps when you shoot with different cameras or on different scenes to make everything come together. So color grading is impacting storytelling because each color can pass a different emotion to your viewer. So for example, all the horror movies are graded with a cold greenish tint. You can have for example Dr. Sleep, Don't Breathe, or So, that are very greenish and cold. And you can pass another emotion with more warm pink tones. For example, in romance, we use a lot of warm tones because you have to give to your viewer this kind of feeling of comfort. So most rom-com like Her, La La Land, or Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Okay, so my current setup at home is a grading machine. So I use iMac 24-inch, the M1, the new M1. I use also a calibrated monitor. Mine is Asus ProArt PA32U-CX. And I use also my Blackmagic panels, so it helps me to go very fast in my grading. So this is the micro panel from Blackmagic, very good. I honestly had a very great surprise because I thought that I would be very limited with the tool, but actually I could find back all my favorite tools on the iPad. I could find back my color space transform that I use all the time, color wrapper that I really love, the color wheels, and my HDR wheels that I use quite often. For my workflow, everything was there, and I love that. So I really think that this Simplify UI is very good for a beginner. It's also very convenient for social media content creator because then you can edit and grade straight away from your iPad. And for maybe DITs on set, when they can with the iPad just calibrate again their LUT on set. So yeah, I actually really recommend this DaVinci Resolve version. So having many options of accessories like the Apple Pencil, this tool is very useful actually. Why? It's because I can just very intuitively grab things on my UI and tweak my colors as much as I want, which like becomes very easy when like I want just to tweak a tiny thing, you know, on my wheels. I can just take my pencil and just like, you know, switch it. I love it. Also, I find the speed editor like connecting very fast with DaVinci Resolve iPad version. The speed between what you are doing on the speed editor and what like shows on DaVinci Resolve is very fast. So I really loved using this tool. Also, like the trackpad on the iPad keyboard is also very fast and very useful. So I mean, like I'm very satisfied with all the accessories from Apple. Already, iPads are used quite often in my industry as a reference monitor for remote gradings. So what we are doing is giving an iPad to the client to see how the color is broadcasted. So it helps us like to have the same color throughout like the viewing. What is really nice with the iPad M2 is actually this iPad has a reference mode. This reference mode permits us like to switch to a Rec 709 mode, which gives a truer image because you are broadcasting what like the end product would be displayed on. I found that matching footages was pretty easy on the iPad because all the tools are here for you like to match perfectly. So when I try to match a A7S III footage with a Blackmagic Pocket 6K footage, so I could put on my reference mode, I could put my two selected clips both next together. So it really helps me like to see where the color is and match and fine-tune my matching. Also, I could like use the wipe tool, the wiping tool. So I mean, like when I have just a doubt on the footage that I match, I can like just wipe over the other footage that I'm matching just to see if the colors are correct, you know, next to each other. So I just found that everything in terms of experience was easy to handle. So as a professional, I think the M2 iPad version of DaVinci is really useful actually. I didn't really find myself limited by the tool. And overall on this iPad, I really liked this iPad because everything was really quick and was really smooth. I really love the feature that like you can export from DaVinci Resolve a ProRes 422 HQ. And this iPad can read the ProRes 422 HQ. So yeah, I'm very satisfied with this machine.
Alright guys, so that's my overall performance and real-time test for the iPad Pro after using it for a month plus. And by getting someone like Chloe who has done some professional level color grading on the M2 iPad Pro with DaVinci Resolve, which clearly shows and proves that the iPad Pro deserves to have the Pro name in the iPad as well.
My favorite local drink, tea ice. Yes. Fly or have super strength. I'm already having super strength. So then like I would fly then. I'm more like into like the salty side, yeah. Because I'm a salty person. Morning or evening? Oh, evening, totally, because this industry made me become a night owl. And night owl. Sorry, my French.
Omelette de fromage.
Grading an Hollywood movie. So if like you guys want me to grade a Hollywood movie, I'm here. Hi guys, I'm Chloe, aka Frenchie. So I'm having a YouTube channel. If you want to check it out, I do mostly tutorials, so it's called Frenchie Color Grading. And you can follow me on Instagram at Frenchie_CT. Yeah, I see you there.